Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Donna.
Morning, Adona. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
I'm very excited for you.
Thank you.
I'm excited about that roundtable discussion that you emailed us all about.
January 27th? I mean, February 27th.
February, right.
Yes.
It's always fun when you have an opportunity to listen to Q, who's going to be one of the panelists there.
Yes, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a great session. So,
Morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, if I'm the Robert you were talking about.
You are the Robert I'm talking about. Look at all these Friday studious students.
It's wonderful, and this is one of my favorite sessions.
This is actually my favorite session. Look forward to Fridays.
I wonder if we're on the right Zoom, though. There's only 3 of us.
No, the one I'm on, there's 50 of us.
Oh, okay. I'm not showing anybody except you, Robert, and myself, and
You must
whoever
be,
just joined.
you're on your mobile device, that's why.
Ah, there you go. I am. Apologies.
No worries. All right, we're gonna get started this in a moment or two.
There are a few people that are having trouble because I got a text. Donna just sent one to correct everybody, so.
Fantastic. Well, this is one of my favorite topics here, and I think you're gonna get a lot of value. If you don't have a piece of paper handy, I'm gonna show everybody where you can get some of this information. If you don't want to take all the notes, let me just
What up, Rob? Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so here is some information that you can get. If you when you get these each week, you'll see that you have the Zoom link. Now, today we're going to be giving away a free video from Cinema Flight. So if you invited anybody to today's event, you click on this, you can register them and you'll be put into the lottery. And then here is the show notes. If you click on this, these are the notes that I work off of. Okay, so you can have them. If anybody wants to make sure that you can access that, that would be fantastic. And if you don't want to watch my video, you have a little highlight of what it's about. You have the document. Typically, the document's posted the morning of. So if you click on it when it comes out early, it might be blank. And let's get the show started. So let's get, I put down 7 trigger phrases and 13 power words, which is kind of what this is about, but it really is a lot more encompassing than just that. Okay, I'm going to start with the foundation. And the foundation is something that I think we've all heard versions of it. People want to work with people like themselves or people they know, like, and trust. Okay, that's a universal principle. Knowing exactly what to say, how to say it, and when to say it makes you relatable and easier for prospects to choose to work with you. Knowing exactly what to say, how to say it, and when to say it makes you relatable and easier for prospects to choose us to work with. Does that make sense to everybody? I mean, you could be the smartest person. You can know the most about your local real estate market, and you could be losing business if you don't have an effective communication strategy. Okay. Pacing, tone, and inflection all matter. Okay. Scarcity and fear of loss is the biggest driver for decision-making in mankind. And moving is one of the 5 most stressful life experiences. Okay. Not just buying or selling, but if you Google it, most stressful life transactions, moving is usually right in the middle of the top 5. Many people fear moving more than death, just so you know. I think public speaking and divorce are also on that list of beautiful 5 things that they fear. Don't think it should be something that's there, and I think the only reason that it's fearful is the magnitude of the numbers and the stress of the entirety of the process. Like putting everything in boxes and moving, it makes some people, a little nuts. The difference between you and people like you isn't hard work, isn't product knowledge, isn't aptitude, or isn't knowledge or aptitude or knowing exactly what to, it's knowing exactly what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and how to make it count. Okay, so it's knowing exactly what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and how to make it count. And the time to figure out what you're going to say, who knows the worst time to figure out what you're going to say is
When you're gonna say it.
right before you say it, right? That's the horribly most worst time to figure out what you're going to say. You need to know in advance what you're doing. Finding the right words at the right time is table stakes. And just as being licensed and knowing the market is. So you can't practice real estate. You can't join a brokerage without a license. You shouldn't practice without local knowledge. And I'm adding to that list. You shouldn't be practicing real estate unless you know how to communicate. Okay. Table stakes is the minimum offer to be considered a viable player. It's the cost of entry and the fundamental expectation. Okay. Too many competitors are competent, and it's true. No is always part of the game. So there's always going to be objections in what we do. Very, very rarely are clients, prospects, buyers, sellers, renters, very rarely are they saying no to you. They're almost always saying no to it or no right now. Okay. And I'm going to go into a little bit about linguistics and the science of communication. Does anybody remember from years back, we used to talk a lot more about this, but how much of our communication is deemed to be nonverbal?
Rob, I
believe
think
it's
it's around
50%.
50% or more.
50, I have 50%.
97%.
80%.
95.
The general consensus is 93% of it is nonverbal. 7% is the words. You have a majority of it is tonality, okay, the way that you deliver it, and then it's physiology, your body language, okay, because I forget who I was listening to. I think it might have been Chris Voss, right? That expert negotiator from Black Swan. And, he made a statement that, the way that you communicate is not important to the game. It is the game. And his statement was, if Chris Rock gave me the same stand-up material he had, and I went in front of an audience and I said the same things, would people laugh? And I think most of us would agree, probably not, right? So it's in the delivery, it's in the communication. And it's no different than that for our business, okay? I'm going to see if, let me see here. Mr. Frank Del Pesce, are you on for a moment? While I wait for the rest of the team to get on. All right, maybe he is not.
Rob, may I jump in and say hello to everyone?
Absolutely.
Good morning, folks. I'm very happy to join Remax Select Group. I joined about 2 weeks ago. I'm coming over from Remax Advisors. I didn't introduce myself before, and I'm doing it now. I hope to meet everyone in person at some point, but everyone I've met so far has been great and very helpful, and I appreciate it.
Well, we're glad to have you on the team, Giuseppe. How many years in the business, and where do you cover, Giuseppe? I know you're in the Coral Springs, Parkland area, right?
That's true. I've been in the business for 19 years. I cover mostly Broward County, but I do lots of sales in Palm Beach County and some in Miami-Dade as well.
Fantastic. So if Frank, if you get on, you can just interrupt me. I'm going to go back to our conversation here. So one of the biggest challenges with most salespeople is it might sound to be a bit of a contradiction, but they sell too much, right? They do the traditional sales, they try too hard, they talk too much, they don't listen enough, and they don't ask enough questions. Questions are so ridiculously important. Questions are so ridiculously important. A core principle in language is that the person asking the question is in control of the conversation. Okay. I never really, I mean, I think I instinctively knew it, but I never thought about it that way. But if you think about like a job interview, right? You want to go get a job, you put your best clothes on, you know, you're on your best behavior, you want to come across in a very convincing, attractive manner to a prospective employer. The employer is asking the questions, they're in control of the conversation in that circumstance. I think we need to take a page from that and realize that if we want to be in control of the conversation, that we need to be asking better questions, and that will put us in control of the process. And, you know, even Giuseppe, when you came to interview us, I think, you know, I didn't feature dump. I think I asked you a lot of questions about where you want it to be. And I think that was impactful in our conversation. I don't know if you recall that.
I recall our conversation, yes.
So,
And
you know,
I can add to that. You were very sincere. You, Colleen, Nancy, everyone I've met, Fazia, Elizabeth, etc. Very sincere, and you want to help.
right. So I had a sincere interest, and in order for me to help, I needed to ask some questions to identify how we could help you if this was the right choice for you. So I listened to you a lot. I asked a lot of questions, and then I understood how we could be a better service to you. So that's a metaphor for what we need to do when we meet with our clients. Sometimes we feel like, you know, we have our presentation, we show up, we're ready to answer all the questions, right? Fire the questions away at me. And I think that's absolute wrong strategy in order to be successful at a higher level. Okay. We need to listen twice as much as we talk. We need to ask better questions. Okay. Now here's the success formula. And you all have a copy of this through your the link on the email that you got, but the success formula goes something like this, or it goes exactly like this. Questions create conversations. Okay. If I ask a question, that begets a conversation. Conversations create relationships. Relationships create opportunities, and from opportunities come sales. Okay. You know, this is some of the stuff that I just copied off of some of my thought leaders. And I have a lot of this material is from Phil Jones, which is exactly what to say in real estate. I learned a lot from Chris Smith and some of these other people, but there's a little book that you might want to invest in, a very short read. Ask questions, shut up and close. Okay, shut up and sell. Okay, don't mean to be so direct, but if you ask the questions and you need to let people answer them, don't feel like to earn the business you need to keep talking. Okay, studies have shown when people rate conversations, they think the conversations went really well when we're talking or when they're talking. What do you think?
Mutual.
The studies show that when you get somebody to talk about themselves and their needs, they feel that that conversation was exceptional, even though they're just telling you what they need, instead of us trying to feature dump, provide solutions that they may not even want. Okay. Agents often blow the opportunity to close their buyers simply because they talk too much. You should be talking 20 to 33% of the time when you're with a client. You should be attentive listening, which is a skill. Ask questions, start relationships, to start conversations and create relationships that become opportunities and lead to sales. Who are the people you should be asking questions to, or questions of, that you're not asking questions of today? You know, that's a thought-provoking question. Who should we be having conversations with on a regular basis that maybe we're not?
Prospects.
Absolutely. The difference between sales and marketing is that marketeers attract and salespeople convert prospects to customers and close. Salespeople convert prospects to customers and close. Okay. In the sales game, it's not like the educational system here in New Jersey. There's no prize for 13th place. As a matter of fact, there's not even a prize for second place, is there, Ron? What do you get if you come in? What if they say, hey, I interviewed 4 people, Ron, you came in second. What do you get?
Nothing.
You get nothing. And is that fair?
Yes.
Is it fair?
No.
No? I think it's completely fair.
It just depends on how good your presentation is, your conversations go with your clients.
Well, I think Ron, I think this is the fairest business around because there's no politics. I can't give you a gold star to give you an advantage going against somebody else. You have to earn the business.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you have to invest in improving your value proposition, your conversations, your skill set, okay? Trust is the currency of leadership.
Yes.
Integrity is the currency of business.
Yes.
Ways more than ever now. Frank, are you on? I have to log in and be able to mute Mr. Delpeche. All right. I understand that
Good morning.
there was a little bit of turbulent news today. If you could just maybe touch one moment on that and maybe share one way that our team here can serve people and close more transactions as a result of lender relationships.
Well, turbulent news is all over the place, unfortunately. As Brian had mentioned on last week's meeting, when our Fed chairman spoke on CBS, it kind of didn't give a positive sign for rate cuts. So with CPI that came out this week, bond market is just taking a hit. As everybody knows, we benchmark and we follow the 10-year Treasury. That's not the only indicator, but that's just a good benchmark. And this morning, it's back up to 4.331% or 4.32%. It was as low as just about a month ago, probably like 3.7%. So, listen, rates are still relatively good. I mean, mid sixes, upper sixes, depending upon FICO scores, low sevens. So interest rates are still really good compared to what they were a couple months ago. One other thing I do want to talk about is just building relationships too. We have last week, the hot topic was warrantable and non-warrantable condos for the Florida market. So I sent an email out last week to our Florida team and talking about the non-warrantables and the condo hotels and how we can assist in that. I'll be honest with you, this week it's about first-time home buyers. There's a couple of first-time home buyer programs out there. There are a lot, actually. So we have one where we can do a conventional first-time home buyer and an FHA first-time home buyer. Both down payment assistance, both do not have to be repaid. They come in the form of a grant at closing. So the requirement is a 620 FICO score. And you could do on the conventional, we can give up to a $5,000 credit at closing. It could be used towards closing costs. It could be used towards down payment. We also give up to a $500 home warranty. So if the buyer is looking to purchase a home warranty, that's not covered by the seller. We'll provide a $500 credit towards that home warranty. And in addition to that, we'll give up to a $500 credit for the appraisal. So you have to be living in what's called the metropolitan statistical area. I actually pre-approved somebody yesterday that qualifies. So you have to be living in the area to qualify for this program. You could buy wherever you want, but you have to currently live there. The client that I pre-approved yesterday lives in Coral Springs. You wouldn't think Coral Springs is an MSA market, but there's pockets of areas that that do qualify. So what we do is we run their current home address through the website, and it lets us know if they qualify or not. So Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater. These are all MSA areas that qualifies. So
Frank, I think, you know, the meaning behind it is, you know, a conversation might be able to provide somebody with an opportunity.
exactly.
Like when we went to Mike Opie's meeting where, you know, somebody was looking to rent and they determined that they could buy a house with some of the tools that are available to, you know, to partners of ours, you know, and I don't mean just because they're financial partners, but partners in our business to help us find solutions to change lives, because, you know, it was really impactful. That person bought their first house, their mortgage is going to be fixed. They wanted to spend $3,100 a month in rent. And imagine 5 or 10 years from now when their mortgage is fixed and the rent might be double.
Right,
You know, the
exactly.
impact that you could have on somebody's life by doing that.
Yeah, it's just about having the conversation. That's what we do. I mean, we're here, like, you know, I was here on this meeting, you're talking about ways to communicate, just like us. We do the same way. So we just try to educate people, and education, that's the key.
Yep. So have those, you know, have those conversations, find out how we can serve our clients, how we can serve ourselves and our families by doing better, by helping others. Okay. Now here comes an interesting analysis. If I say the word stereotypical salesperson, do you have a positive or negative response? What's your impression? Oh, it's another stereotypical
Negative.
salesperson.
Negative.
Negative, right? Is there anyone that says, wow, I want to be a stereotypical salesperson? Anybody want to do that?
No.
No, nobody does. But what about a professional salesperson? Just changing the word, right? Professional salesperson is something that's desirous, okay? It's something that we strive to be. The stereotypical salesperson, I get an image of a used car salesperson, desperate to make a sale at any cost. A professional salesperson is going to give you the right advice, even if it's not in their best interest at the time, okay? The overwhelming theme here is going to be, you know, questions are the keys. You know, the worst time to think about what you're going to say is just before you say it. Okay. The worst time to think about what you're going to say is right before you say it, because you're never going to get it right. And if you're thinking about it, how do you think that 93% of the delivery is going to come across? It's probably not going to come across very well. Okay. Never end a meeting, and this might seem to be a contradiction, with the phrase, do you have any questions? If I say, do you have any questions? Studies have shown that people feel insecure in making a decision because they feel inadequate if they don't have a question. Okay, this leads the prospect to look for questions and to be uncertain and to delay making a decision. Okay, instead, what the experts suggest is ask, what questions do you have for me? Okay, because if they don't have any, they'll generally say, I don't have any. But do you have any questions has a different psychological impact, and words matter. Okay. And when you say, you know, do you have any, what questions do you have for me? Normally there are none, or seldomly there are few. And then if you say, if I were to say to, I don't know, Karma, if you have your audio on, I would say, Karma, what questions do you have for me? If I've done a good job explaining it, you'll probably say what? None.
No, actually, I don't have any questions. Thank you. Everything is clear.
Okay, so then the next step is we need to decide, right? We just go right into the process. We need to decide, you know, when to have the stager come in, when we want to have the person do the minor repairs. That's a pre-closing question. Okay. Has anybody ever heard the term ARC, which is acknowledge, respond, and then close? Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about that when I go into the power phrases, about how to overcome some objections without getting flustered. Okay. I think true professional salespeople look forward to objections. They look forward to addressing objections. And I'm even going to be a little bit controversial and say that they look forward to objections that they don't even have answers to. Okay, we look forward to questions that we may not have the answers to, because we can say, hey, that's a great question, Karma. Let me think about it. I'll address that before we finish. That would be a very appropriate way rather than trying to manufacture an answer. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about magic words. The most magical word is repeating the prospect's names. Hey,
Yes.
Karma and Bosch, when we put people love to hear their name. They love to hear the word you. They love the word we. They want to know about the advantage and the benefit. We do this because I added a phrase that I love to use, which is, Karma, how important is it to you to have control over the process? Right? If I asked you, is it important for you to control the process?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, there's specific activities we can do to give you better control of the process, and I can share those with you spoken eloquently. Okay. Value versus price trips up a lot of salespeople. Okay. Why do people object to our price? Because we haven't demonstrated the value.
Yes.
Right. People will object to our price if we haven't demonstrated value. Thank you. Magic words. Thank you. Looks like I didn't proofread. I have advantage benefit on there twice. Help. The word avoid for avoid pain. A proven process. And I think we all want something to be fair, right? Fundamentally, we want something to be fair. So those are some words that, I would like to see us intentionally incorporate in our conversations and our questions. Okay. Successful.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry. No, my apology for interrupting you. Go ahead. I just have one thing to say about actually your comment,
Go ahead.
which is I did use it and it worked very good. When people they ask you what is the percentage, what the commission rate you're taking, and I took your advice and I said, I would really like to meet with you and make sure you feel comfortable with me and with our service. And he never said nothing after that. And I got the listing. Thank you for sharing that.
So that was in the context of doing cold calling, right?
Yes.
Because, a logical objection is, hey, Karma, before you come out, what kind of price do you charge? Because if it's too much, I don't want to have you come out here.
Yes.
And you pivoted and said, you know what, basically, unless we were a good fit, it doesn't really even matter. So you professionally pivoted, and I commend you on that. And I think we should all learn from that, because we feel compelled, to give an answer, and that's not the case. Okay. There's only one alpha in any conversation. There's only one person controlling it, and that's the person asking the questions. And if you can ask reciprocal questions, you can take control of the conversation back. Okay. Other power words or magic words: successful. If I can show you how. Discover, unique, imagine, opportunity, goals, results, focus, obsessed, tested, chore, imagine, navigate. Open-minded is a really great one. We're going to talk about that a little bit further down. Negotiate, exciting, concerned, nervous. The nervous comment, I'm giving credit to Tom Toole. And I think there might even be a borrowed line from him down below in my power phrases. Guidance, authority, command, control, sway, lexicon, Rubicon, overcome, and confident. Okay, those are just a bunch of words. You don't want to use them inappropriately, but those are some of the words that I find, if appropriate, can be very effective. The 7 power phrases are the words that matter, which help quality agents differentiate themselves in a crowded marketplace. Okay. There's a lot of real estate agents in all of our markets. There's not a lot of quality committed agents in our marketplace. Okay. So one of the most powerful phrases I like to use is, if we decide to work together, how would you like to position your home? If we decide to work together, when would you like to do the first open house? If we decide to work together, how much would you like to offer the agent who brings us the buyer? Hey, if we decide to work together, when can I schedule the photographer? If we decide to work together, when do you want to be in your new home? We decide to work together, where do you want to move to? Okay. Now, I put a reminder here for me because I went, it's probably 2 years ago, 2 years and 2 days ago. Okay. I went on a lead that came from KV Core. Okay. This was a magical lead because KV Core's automated technology was texting and emailing and sending all of those canned responses, right? And we got into our pond. We got a lead saying that, I want somebody to come out and evaluate our house. Okay. And they said, we've been talking for a while. And I'm like, it's very interesting, but nobody's ever spoken to the person. So I go out there with a young lady, Valentina. We go to their house. And when I get into the house, I get one of these. I felt like we didn't pre-qualify the opportunity because the woman's walking me through the house. I'm building rapport. And we walk in, here's my son. He's in 4th grade. Here's my daughter. She's a sophomore. And this is Valentine's Day. Okay. So February 14th. She goes, my daughter wants to make sure that we finish school here with her friends in Hillside. It's like, that means it could be like 2.5 years before that house goes on the market. Okay. So when I went down to their dining room table, instead of talking about what we could sell their house for, I talked about the motivation for their move. Okay. And I think that this was masterful because before that, they were like, we just want to get an idea. We want to wait until, Elizabeth finishes her senior year because she doesn't want to leave her friends. Has anybody ever been in that circumstance where you've gone out and then it's like, wow, that's a long time away? Anybody?
Yes.
And how do you feel when that happens, Karma?
It is, I agree with you. And you said you don't really focus in actually at the time the value for the home, you focus in their motivation. What the thing actually motivates them is more money or more or a comfort. So they have to decide which one. And at the end, they said, you know what, actually, honey, we're gonna really lose a lot of money if we wait for too long. So I agree with you about you have to find out what is the motivation for them to move.
So this gets really, really interesting, okay? Because, a mom, wanted to follow the daughter's wish and finish school there. But I put on a master class, and I'm going to humbly submit that I did this because I had some reference points. And instead of my listing conversation, I immediately pivoted to, in 2.5 years, when you move, where do you want to be? Okay. And magically, the homeowner said, we just wish that we could buy this house in Jackson because it has a pool. Can I give you the address? So I Googled it. I started talking about where they wanted to be. They were in a more urban area and they wanted to be in a more rural environment. And as I questioned even further, okay, besides wanting to be in a more rural environment, I learned that the husband of the couple, the father, was a police officer in town, and that one of their friends was carjacked. And that was the motivation for the original call. So they were conflicted. So I understood their why. And then we wound up listing the property that day, even though the daughter wanted to finish school there. As a matter of fact, the daughter even got bought into the house with the pool where they would potentially move to. And it was a really good story. We listed the house and we referred it to one of our agents down in Tinton Falls. It was a successful purchase and sale that, you know, without better questions would have been a come see me in 2.5 years conversation. Okay.
It happened to me in my own actually story with my family. I wanted to move from Lawrenceville to West Windsor, and the children, they were so, we were in the cul-de-sac, they are all together. It was very hard to, but I said, okay, let me show you the house that we want to buy. And, you know, let me know how you can actually, what you think. So I did show her the house and said, you know what, also in the meantime, it's not too far that you can have the house, the big home, and you have your old friend, and you can invite your old friend and you will have a new friend. And here it is.
So Karma, I think I might even use this because when I was growing up, my parents always wanted to have a bigger house, but they couldn't afford it until after I was out of school. So my younger brother was unfortunately a sophomore, the same exact scenario. My parents moved between their his sophomore and junior year, and he was spitting mad, but he was the most popular individual because he had his friends from Edison, he had his friends from Princeton. After graduating, you know, he had so many connections. It was a truly magical experience for him. So, but he fought like hell not to, you know, leave the comfort zone, not to leave the nest. Phrase number 2. How open-minded would you be to, okay? Studies show that most people aren't as open-minded as they think they are, right? I don't think anybody says, I am not an open-minded individual, but sometimes they're not. So using the phrase, how open-minded would you be to extending your search criteria if we could get you something insanely better? So if somebody said, you know, my maximum price is $500,000, and you know, I said, you know, how open would you be to extending your criteria if we can find you something insanely better? Okay, it's different than, you know, Rob Garber, how open are you to increasing your budget by 75,000? Okay, the words matter. Okay, the way that you say it has a huge, huge impact. How open would you be to putting a little bit more money down so your offer stood out a touch more competitively? How open would you be to just exploring some other possibilities outside of your price range? How open-minded would you be to having a further conversation before you make up your mind? Okay, now this is in the context of, you know what, Karma, you know, my niece is a real estate agent. You know, if I list my for sale by owner, I'm going to list it with my niece. Hey, how open-minded would you be, Karma, to having a further conversation before you make up your mind? That's the context for that one.
That's a good one.
Okay. You can, you know, those of us who are in the front line of having these conversations, you know, Karma, you can smell how that's going to taste when somebody says, I have a niece, a nephew, an in-law, right? Hey, you know, how open-minded would you be to having a further conversation before you made your mind up, your final decision? How open would you be to speaking to my past home sellers to help you in the decision process? Okay. Most people probably won't do it, but I think that that opens up the conversation. Okay. The phrase, I totally understand. Okay. If I could show you how we could help you navigate all those conditions and what's happening in the market right now and make this move happen for you in a stress-free manner, would you be open-minded about a strategy session or planning to meet and go over what you're looking for? Okay, that's a lot of words around the open-minded, but it's another example of using that strategy because people don't think of themselves as closed-minded. They really don't. 3, power phrase 3, how important is it for you to control the process? Okay, how important is it for you to control the process? Now, I coached Amy Roan in our Tinton Falls office on her most expensive listing appointment that she went on, and the appointment ended without a listing. And I got a call from Amy saying, you know, Rob, I felt really good about the process. I educated this very use the term arrogant, you know, CEO, home seller, high-end individual that basically likes getting yes from everybody. And he wanted to overprice the house, you know, on a 3 million, on a 2.3 million dollar house. He wanted to price it at 3. And you know, Amy held her guns. She held the line. And she said, you know what, Aaron, if you really want to control the process, you don't, you know, she said, how important is it to you control the process? And he was like, of course I want to control the process. And she said to him, you know, if we overprice your home, okay, and we only have one offer or no offers, that one offer is going to be in complete control of the process. If we price this correctly, we can get you multiple offers, and then you will be in control of the process. Okay, at the time, she thought it was a fail, but she felt good about it. 10 days later, he said, send me the paperwork. I want to list with you. True story. Amy from our Tinton Falls office, okay? They listed at the 2.25 price. So, you know, don't underestimate the language. How important is it for you to control the process? In order to control the process, it's important that we have competition, and to have competition, we must position the home to attract multiple offers. Is there anyone that disagrees with that? I mean, to get the true value out of the property, you need to have competition. Without competition, a buyer could have an advantage. Okay. So if you're able to have that in your arsenal or in your quiver when somebody wants to take a decision that's not in their best interest, okay, you can educate them and ask questions on how to get them to make the right decision. Number 4. This is another variation of Tom Toole's FSBO conversion, okay? You know, hey, you know what? My niece has a neighbor that wants to move into our neighborhood, so we might want to sell it without paying a commission. You might already have a buyer. So listen to this masterclass. That's exciting. Off-market sales have some positives. Can I tell you why that makes me nervous? I'll bet you're a little bit like me, and you want to get as much out of your property as you can when you sell it. What do you think of that? Like, do you think if somebody says that they have a buyer and you were able to pull that out and say that you might earn the opportunity to have a conversation? And in Tom Toole's scenario, he leans heavily into the off-market study from Trend MLS showing that, you know, over the past 10 or 15 years, homes that haven't been exposed to the market sell between 13 and 18.5% below their counterparts that were listed. So, you know, if you're expecting to pay a 5 or 6% commission, you know, you're still going to have a tremendous yield. You know, I think it might be worth, would you be open-minded to taking a meeting and seeing what that might look like? You know, would you be open-minded to taking a meeting and see what that might look like? Okay. And you have all of these are in the attachment to what I sent out in case you like it. Number 5, getting a home ready to go on the market.
No problem.
Does anybody ever have a seller that may be a little bit
Yeah.
undermotivated because the anxiety of getting the house ready? Anybody ever have that experience, or anybody have that right now, where there's a
Yes.
seller that should be putting their home on the market, but they're fumbling to get it ready?
Yes.
I've had it before. I don't have it now, but I have had it before.
Okay, so here's some language, okay, that you can borrow. Hey, getting a home ready for the market is a big chore. Just imagine what it would be like if someone gave you specific guidance to prep the property and get it ready for the market. Most people don't know what to do, and my clients have found this super helpful. Okay, I'm going to repeat that because I think it's a home run. Getting a home ready for the market is a big chore. Just imagine, one of the power words, what it would be like if someone gave you specific guidance to prep the property and get it ready for the market. Most people don't know what to do, and our clients have found this super helpful. Anybody like that one?
I like it a lot.
Okay, I think
Rob,
that
I would add something
embodies.
to that.
Go ahead.
Guidance and resources.
Yep, so you can provide your contractors, you can make their life a little bit easier, right? But if people understood what we did, okay, do you think that our job would be just a little bit easier, right? If people understood what we do to earn our money. You know, I heard Chris Voss speaking at one of the Tom Ferry events, and he said, you know, a lot of industries have a 10% finder's fee, and all they do is pass a name along. You know, in our industry, you know, we bust our tail to make a 5 or 6% commission, and then we split it with somebody else. Okay. In a lot of businesses, you pass a name along and you get a 10% fee. So I think we represent a tremendous value, and we can't allow others to define the value that we have. Okay, because price is only an objection. Price is only an issue in the absence of value. And Gary Singer, I see you there on camera. I want to ask you a question, sir. You've been around for a little while. If you can convey to somebody that they can get 13 to 18% more by paying you 6%, is that a hard conversation if you have evidence of that? You're on mute, sir. You're still on mute, Gary. Sorry about that. But anyway, you see where I'm going. If you're sharing with somebody that there's evidence that what they're doing, there's no guarantee, but certainly if there's an extensive, exhaustive study showing that unexposed properties get less, and it has to be the case, because if there's less people in the market, you're going to get less money. Okay. And a story for you know, Gary, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, we
Okay.
can. Yes.
Okay.
What do you think of that facts? Those facts?
I'm sorry. Could you just?
So Gary, if I was talking to you as a for sale by owner, right, who didn't see value in what our industry does,
Mhm.
and I was able to share with you, hey, you know, Gary, some of the properties that were exposed to the market are getting 13 to 18.5% more than properties that don't get exposed to the MLS. You know, if you decide to sell it on your own, it would make me nervous that you're leaving money on the table. You know, would you be open to a meeting?
Mhm. No, I think that makes good sense. Particularly if you can document.
Yeah, we can't. You know, I'm gonna mute the whole group, and then you can just unmute yourself again, Gary. All right, unmute yourself. Oops, so you unmute it and then you mute it yourself again there, Gary.
All right. How's that?
That's perfect.
Perfect. Okay, good, good. So the big issue sometimes comes up. I've had this many times in the half a century I've been doing this. And they'll say, well, I already have somebody who's willing to pay me money and I know how much I can get for it. So it's a gamble for the seller to take a chance with you, not knowing what his buyer originally would do. So sometimes they'll ask, well, perhaps you can make an exception, and then they'll want to put that buyer in as an exception, and then you would have to play that buyer off other offers. I don't know that always works. That always works well, but that could be another avenue of concern, to have an exception built in. A lot of the other agents may not be interested in showing a property where there's an exception. They might say, "Hey, whatever offer I give, someone else can beat me," and then there would be no commission or a minor commission or whatever other issues there are. So it's a complex issue. I think what I would do is document with actual sales properties and how much more, and particularly in this market, they're selling for over ask price. Why settle for for just that one? The multiple offers will likely generate a bidding war, and likelihood is that they'll get more. It's just sometimes, depending on who the client is that you're dealing with, it's a matter of confidence. How do they feel about you? Have you come across? Do you have a reputation for delivering?
So Garrett, are you a stereotypical salesperson or a professional salesperson? Have you built that trust over the phone through your communication? I think that's the cherry on the sundae that will get you to the finish line or not. I'm going to say, is Fred Lopez, are you on? Christian, are you on?
He is on.
Hey, how's it going, Rob?
Good. So if anybody invited a guest to come join us today, I am giving a complimentary on my dime personal introductory video through our partnership with Cinema Flight. And Cinema Flight was introduced to me by the Morris Agent team and Glenn Baker. They do high quality stuff. I've been observing it, and I've been saying that's space that we should be in. And Glenn connected us with Christian. And Christian, I want to turn it over to you for just a moment to share what you do. And this is not a sales pitch for making a sales pitch. This is, I want to elevate your position in the market by looking incredibly professional. So Christian, go ahead.
Sure. So in regards to Rob's offer, what he's giving away for free is basically an introductory video. Do you want me to share my screen, Rob, or do you just want me to speak to this?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if you have to approve it.
All right, hold on. Yeah, let me do that. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. So 2 seconds. And basically, an agent introduction video could be filmed at any of the offices that you want to film in. This example here specifically is at the Morristown office. I'll just make this full screen real quick. Basically, it's an introduction video, but it has a higher quality to it than if, let's say, you just film an introduction video that's on your phone, and it puts an emphasis on your office. This particular shoot was in the studio that's in the Morristown office. It's a video with this agent talking about who she is. In the beginning, she had her children with her. This is my wife, by the way, Catherine. She had our kids walk in with her just to show that, like, hey, I'm a realtor, but also I'm a mom. Like, that's what she wanted to convey. We had the team be there to get shots showing that she's also a part of the Morris Agent team. So like the video basically just tells her story about her as an agent, what she does, what makes her unique. It shows elements of the team that you're not just working with like one person, you get access to the team. She included the kids to add that element of just like making it cute. And then we show examples of properties that were marketed. We put an area where a review pops up from past clients, but basically we can create for you, like what Rob is giving away for free would be one of these agent introduction videos. It could be at any of your offices. It could be at the Morristown office if you want to leverage the studio for this kind of backdrop or look. And I could help you plan I could have people from our team help you plan what you want to say if you don't know exactly what you want to say. And then the shoot should probably take less than an hour. And then you'd have a video like this the next business day. That's Rob's free offer, but just to quickly go over like the page that we put together in collaboration with Remax Select Group. If you haven't seen this, there are some signs in some of the offices with a QR code that you could scan if you want to end up learning more, or if you just ask any of the brokers or managers, they should be able to give you this link. But basically, we've put together this landing page that showcases all the services that we have. If you have a listing and you want to do photos, video, a 3D tour, a property website, drone shots, a drone flying through the house, we have a package that we put together for you guys that is extremely competitively priced. And what I just tell people is that the numbers don't lie. You could reach out to numerous people in your offices and look up their listings. What I tell people to do is to compare. If you've never done this style of marketing, just try it once and then compare the numbers in terms of the amount of views and saves that you get. So like, I'm just going to pull up a couple. These are all recent shoots for people from your offices. So this is Candace from the Morris Agent team. A lot of listings, if you just post the regular listing, there's no 3D tour, there's no interactive floor plan. This right here is what causes Zillow to rank your listing higher. And also, I could send everyone, I've got this really easy pricing sheet that breaks down our individual services. It's got our package with the discount, but then also it's got some info about like the actual statistics from Zillow. I feel a lot of people aren't aware of this, but just the impact of adding a 3D tour alone, you could end up getting 60 more views, 60% more views on average than, let's say, if you just added your listing with photography. Here goes one of Glenn's listings that has been on for 6 days now. It has close to 7,000 views, almost 400 saves. Once again, photos, drone shots,
Hey,
3D.
Christian, can you scroll down a little bit? What was the 88%?
So
So it's going to
Go
sell
ahead.
88% faster than nearby properties?
So Zillow ends up giving this estimate, and it's interesting when you compare it. Like another thing that you could end up doing that I always tell people to do is, and you could do this with your clients to strengthen your sales pitch to them. If you just go, like for example, this listing is in Roxbury Township. So let's type in Roxbury Township, and this is what I always find to be interesting. So 24 results have popped up. But now let's go to the filter option and select must have 3D tour and then apply. And now look, out of those 24 results, it gets cut down to this is Sal Petrosino's listing and this is Glenn's listing. What I say is this means that these agents are like the only two that actually cared and put in the effort to ensure that their client is going to get the maximum amount of views on their listing versus if I uncheck this and go back, you look at these other listings that don't, let's say, have a 3D tour or something associated with it. This is how it looks. It's just basic. But in terms of
That one 98% faster than nearby. So Christian, I want to I need to wrap this up,
Yep.
but I will redirect everybody to you. The website to go to is
RemaxSelectMarketing.com.
RemaxSelectMarketing.com. Christian, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing. Robert Garber, are you still on? Can you pick a number between 1 and 24?
12.
12. So 12. So 12 is Kenya. Okay, if you're still on Kenya, you just won that benefit by inviting a guest to come on here. And the other 23 people, thank you for considering us and inviting a friend to come on. If you're a guest of the program today, I thank you for sharing time. I'm going to take a minute to just wrap up the final thoughts here. So we went over getting the home ready for the market is a big chore. Here's another big one. Hey, I'm not sure if this is for you, but okay, when you say that, you know, the natural reaction is, how can you say that's not for me? Of course it's for me. It invokes a competitive reaction when you say that. Hey, you know what? Gary, I'm not sure if it's for you, but we found that putting out, 3% to the buyer's agent maximizes the price. Say, well, no, what do you mean it's not for me? Of course it's for me. I want to do that. Okay. Instead of shamelessly selling, having a communication that starts like that. Great. This sends listeners' subconscious brain to hear that it's no pressure here and curiosity is spiked. The internal driver says a decision needs to be made, but neglects pre-context. So if they're originally inclined not to do it, this is a very unique way that has integrity. It's not trickery. And then there's a whole bunch of if, then, or when, or if, when, right? If I can show you how I could sell your house for the most money in the shortest period of time, when would you like to have the first open house? If I could show you how you could invest $5,000 and get $40,000 more for your home when you sell it, would you be interested? Or, would it make sense for us to get together if it's a phone call, right? Because we know what investments paid big dividends, right? If I can show you how you could stay in the house post-closing to eliminate the stress of moving on the same day, how much time would you need, right? If I can show you how I could change some of the terms of your offer to entice a seller, which of these would you choose? Okay, so there's some really great tips there. I put down some bonus questions on the bottom. Hey, when somebody gives you an objection, another way is saying, hey, I get it. This is something that most people are concerned about. The good news is that we have seen whatever it is, you can build into your dialogue. And that's a traditional classic arcing where you're acknowledging, responding, and continuing. So I don't know if you found this to be helpful. I feel this is one of the better topics to go over. I feel like if we can master our communication skills, it will give us the ability to serve more in our community. It will help us fulfill our moral obligation to help as many people as we can and live more abundantly because of it. Okay. The only way that you really get to, have an extended benefit is by providing consistent, service levels and delivering value. Okay. There's no shortcut. We are not the stereotypical salespeople. We're the professional salespeople that can deliver and drive value. Does anybody have any questions?
Stuff, man.
Who's excited to now go out and have some conversations? I'm pumped just from
I'm
preparing.
always excited to go have conversations.
I'm pumped just preparing for this.
Good stuff.
As crazy as it is, but I really want to help everybody. If you have any questions, please use it as a resource. Carmen, the copy of the notes are in the email that I sent out. I'll show you guys again. You can get it right over here.
I just printed it out. Yeah.
Right. So, okay, you open up the reminder that you got and it has it right here, exactly what to say. 7 trigger phrases. You click on it and you get access to it. Okay. Anybody have any other questions?
Hey, Rob, I just wanted to point out that, for the benefit of the people who are guests on the call today, that this is a typical Friday morning event for us, and we had today just about 150 agents on the call, which is really a tribute to the culture of RE/MAX Select.
Thank you. And we don't take it lightly. We almost never cancel, right? Fridays.
Right.
I've done it from airports and in buses. Like I take this very, very seriously because I feel like this is my commitment to you and I really enjoy trying to help out. MJ, you had a question?
Rob, no, I just wanted to say thank you for having me as a guest. I think this was really great. I think communication in life is everything, whether it's marriage, raising children, certainly in sales. So this is wonderful. And then it, just maybe just to add a couple thoughts to the conversation about, wouldn't it be great if, someone could guide you through this process? I think also saying, wouldn't it be great to have someone tell you exactly what's worth doing when what's not worth doing? I think that's a big one for people because they're thinking maybe I need to repaint the whole house, maybe I need to do this, and to be able to display to them that no, these things are not worth doing. In my expert professional opinion, here are the things that are really going to, translate to buyers. And then also with regards to a selling market, one thing that comes to mind is, or people selling off market. The last thing you should be doing in a seller's market is selling off market, because it's the most competitive market. It's the biggest opportunity to get the most money for your home. And the only people that really should be selling are people with severe deferred maintenance, or people with, if it's like a hoarder's home. But if you have a home that's in good condition and shows great, you want to show it to the biggest pool of buyers. And there are a lot of listing agents that will encourage you to sell in a seller's market off market because you can. But just because you can do something doesn't mean that it's good for you. And the listing agent does improve their odds, making a much higher commission. But as a professional, my fiduciary responsibility to my client is to get you the most money possible, not myself. And that's what, I think.
I'm sorry, Rob, I have an appointment to go to.
Okay, you got it. So Mary Jane,
I'm fired up
I think
about the conversation.
Mary Jane, I think what you're talking about is, it also links to the fact that a lot of homeowners don't realize what we do behind the scenes. Because how many times do you see somebody says, hey, I want to buy it for here, and then the home inspection, I just had an example yesterday. Somebody wanted $75,000 back from the home inspection. Okay, if you're unrepresented and you're doing a for sale by owner, good luck. What about if it doesn't appraise? What about having a conversation about an appraisal gap? What about all the things that people don't realize that we do to deliver value? They just think we put a sign in the ground, we accept offers. So far from true. That example of, I learned something today. That example Christian showed us, 88 and 98% likely to sell faster from doing the video and getting more likes and getting more views. When you show that to a customer and say, your house, would you like your house to be one of these 98% to show quicker? Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if you have anything else, Mary Jane, but I appreciate the comment. And Deborah, I know you had something to say too when Mary Jane's done. Go ahead.
I'm good. Thank you.
Deborah.
The question, I don't see the reminders or anything. I just have this on my calendar as a Zoom. So how do I get on that list, or am I missing something?
So check with Fazia to make sure that you're getting the reminder emails. So what we do is we send out a text message, I think at what time?
I get the text, yeah.
And then you get 2 emails. So if you don't have that email, Deborah, talk to Fazia. She'll forward this over to you, and more importantly, get it fixed for you.
Okay, because who's it coming from?
Constant Contact. You unsubscribe to us. If you unsubscribe, you won't get them. So
yes, just talk directly to Fazia. Any other questions that we have?
Okay, thank you, Fazia.
Of course.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna wrap this up by saying that, no offense to anybody, but there's not one person on this call that has everything figured out and is the expert at everything. But when you take the collaborative knowledge and sharing this group, like, we are unmatched. We're unstoppable, okay, as a group. And I consider myself to be a conduit. I do try to come up with some great ideas, but more importantly, I'm a connector. I borrow ideas. I share ideas from others, and that's what helps us all become just a little bit better. So I thank you all. Thanks for coming. Let's get in the habit, if we want to invite some other people to come join us on these events. It's very fun to share. And thanks for your time.
Thank you, Rob.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye-bye.